Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name again, if I haven't worn it out, is Jeffrey Davis. I am the host of the show, also chairman of the board and CEO and founder of Mage LLC. Kind of hard to believe, since 1985, we worked with over 700 organizations, defining leadership, excellence, organizational culture, strategy, long-term growth plans, and survival, sometimes in transition of families. I'm really excited today. I'm joined by my number one guest host, and that is the one and only John Dustin, President, JED Insurance. Welcome back, John. You've been avoiding me far too long through these summer months, and COVID's no excuse.
Jeff, exactly, since we're remote, but great to be here again and miss singing it.
And John and I how many times a week you're working out, John?
About four.
Okay, you want to show us the guns?
I don't think I have a permit for them for this.
Well, our guest, I'm sure he doesn't want to hear about your guns, but for Don who doesn't know, John is a big weightlifter, and you don't see it in those sports shirts, but he is quite the athlete. And I'm talking about Don Nokes, principal of NetCenergy. Welcome, Don.
Well, thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Well, and you know, we started to talk offline, so I'm looking forward to you telling our entrepreneurs about what you do for a living, because you know it's an issue. I wouldn't even call it daily anymore. It's multiple times daily.
Yes, securing people's networks is a full-time job these days, and it's kind of a shame. I got into business in 1980, and at that time it was all about how do you take computers and help integrate them into your business to make your business more productive and do things a little bit more efficiently. And unfortunately, over the years, it's developed into a situation where it's all about defense now. Now that we're all connected to the internet, there's a lot of people out there trying to get to your data. And so it has become, instead of that, really what I signed up for back in 1980, helping people really take advantage and leverage the computers into their business. Now it's become a matter of how do I protect everything that's going on in my organization today.
Don, the cyber liability market's grown into the 20 billion plus range, and they expect it to grow 20 to 30% in the next few years. But as a NetCenergy, what are some of the tools like MFA and endpoint? Explain some of what you do if a company as sophisticated as Mage were to come to you. What would you
basically?
And he was name dropping. What are all those terms that John just used? He just showed off his intelligence.
No, I showed off my protection.
You know, that's a really important thing. And by the way, you know, this business is built on acronyms. You know, I even the ETLA, the extended three-letter acronym. You know, we have a lot of these acronyms in our business, and it is difficult sometimes to get into a conversation without accidentally dropping some of those to someone who may not be familiar. But in any case, what he's talking about really are tools. They're tools that can be purchased, and they can be purchased both in the enterprise level space where they have seemingly unlimited pocketbooks for this kind of protection, and in the small entrepreneur space where you really don't have a lot of money to be throwing at a lot of your administrative. You're out there trying to drive business and get things going, and the last thing you want to do is have a big administrative overhead. So some of these tools that John talked about can be purchased by entrepreneurs and people that don't have unlimited budgets to make sure that they're maintaining safety. And you know, there's sort of a ratio that we have to work with. It's productivity versus protection, right? So when you talk about MFA, which stands for multi-factor authentication, what that is, and we've all experienced it, it's where you want to log into something and they want to send you a code into your cell phone that you would then plug in again. So it's basically something you know your password, and then something you have, your phone, that allows that multi-factor to authenticate and make sure that when you're logging into something that you are who they think you are. But these tools, oh, go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say, Dawn, I think sometimes people don't understand that it's a spectrum, and it does affect even small businesses. They're not just targeting, Target and the large ones that you've seen. They're looking at even small businesses, these people.
I get it all the time. I consider myself a serial small business owner. And I said it at the beginning. I think I'm susceptible multiple times a day because I have thousands upon thousands of connections online, through the radio show, through my different companies. And I'm just a spider web for anything that's searching on the web.
Well, it's very true. And the problem is they only have to be successful once. I mean, they're out there. There's an estimated 1.5 million people wake up every day, and that's their job, is to hack. And with the successes that they've had, then some pretty high profile successes like the Colonial Pipeline hack, and which yielded millions of dollars. Even though the award got reduced, there was still millions of dollars that were made in this business. So like any other business that it looks like it's a lucrative thing, you have a lot of people that want to get involved. So not only did that pipeline pay off, fund more hacking, but it also encouraged a lot of people who might not have previously been in the business to get in it. And the big businesses are getting way more protection. So the little guys haven't had the money to spend on that protection. They're becoming even more target.
Don, sorry, I get excited about it. I sort of see this as the metaphor of the duck swimming above the water and the legs going like this underneath. I think you're just touching the surface, because we're only hearing about the ones that make the news. I would assume for everyone that makes the news, there's tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of breaches that we don't hear about. It's that frequent.
There is no question about it. I've had multiple companies contact me who have been hacked. Fortunately, none of them have been my client to that point, but they've contacted me, what do we do? And here we are now. And of course, it's kind of like, John, you probably get this in the insurance business. Hey, I just had a loss, but I didn't have insurance. What can I do? Can you cover me now?
Ironically, the cyber insurance market has hardened. The capacity is limited, and it's very difficult now to get a new separate policy with all the bells and whistles unless you have a lot of protection in place. Things like the WISP have to be in place. They want to make sure that the company is proactive with their risk management, not just buying a policy. But Dawn, beyond that, what else does NetCenergy offer, and sort of what size clients are you working with?
Good question.
That's it. Oh, thank you. Sorry, Jeff. NetCenergy basically covers companies within that 10 to 200 space. And we've chosen that niche because it's an area that, there is some funding available, and unfortunately, it does cost money to get the full package that we offer. And there are a lot of companies smaller than us that can really focus on the small entrepreneur, but really in that, really 10 is our minimum. And that's because we put together a whole cadre of tools that we buy at a bulk rate. And then all of our clients basically use the same antivirus tools, the same email filtering tools, the same backup systems that we can actually run their business from the cloud should there be a disaster. In other words, we can just, if there was even a fire, we could basically have a business up and running in literally an hour with all of the data and all of the applications being able to run in the cloud. So unfortunately, that bundle of tools that we put together does have a certain cost per month. And so our target market tends to be in that space.
There's a consultant in Boston, Jeff Davis, and he would probably tell you, if you're not an expert on something, to outsource it. And you have to wonder why a lot of smaller companies don't outsource the IT function to get the full breadth of what a company like NetCenergy would offer.
I just had that discussion yesterday with a client that was complaining that they couldn't recruit some people full time. And I was like, everybody's got a recruiting competent. Why don't you outsource this? And they were like, oh, no, our business is unique. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't find anybody. It's
novel idea, right, Jeff?
Outsourcing seems to be the big trend. Wouldn't you agree, Don?
Absolutely. And, we use it ourselves. I mean, there were times when, I was finding myself dealing with, we're a 30-person company, but I was dealing with HR issues and myself. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I really needed to, and I can't keep up with this stuff. The same with marketing. We basically used to try to do our own marketing and outsource that recently. You really have to understand what your mission is and what you're really good at. And unless you're really focused on that, to get pulled away with these other issues where you're like, I let's say that there are some people in organizations, they haven't hired a tech. Maybe there's someone who's kind of a savvy person, but he's also got a full-time job in the organization. I call it impersonating a technician. And by the time you spend that extra time trying to learn how to fix something that some outsourced company has seen 10 times yesterday and can do it much more efficiently, your cost to actually manage your network and manage your IT can be so much lower when you put it in the hands of someone who does it every day and knows what to look out for.
Wow.
Yep.
Can you give us one example before you go of somebody who was warned without giving a case and got themselves into a big problem?
Yeah, I can tell you exactly what happened. It's really ironic. I had gone to a law firm. They're about a 40, 50 person law firm. And they were not happy with their IT support company that they currently had. Unfortunately for our industry, that's not uncommon. And so they went to us. We went in, provided them a presentation, and they said, you're about $1,000 more a month than we wanted to spend. And so they went away. About 8 months later, I get a phone call. Hey, lunch? So the managing partners and I, who I'd met 8 months prior, sat down at lunch. One of their partners was working late. It was probably 8 o'clock in the evening on a Friday night. He got a pop-up email from Microsoft that said, you're infected. You've got to click here and let's get you taken care of, or call here. I think it was a call. So he picked up the phone, he called Microsoft. And so they said, well, here's what we can do. We can get you cleaned up here. Point your browser to here. So, and by the way, when anybody asks you to go to this website, and click on approve, that's what they're doing. They're taking over your computer. And that's exactly what this hacker did. Took over this lawyer's computer and put ransomware into their system. And so here he is. It's the entire database, and one of the things this law firm had done wrong, which unfortunately happens a lot, is they had a real estate division. They had a IP division. They had all these divisions of law.
3 lawyers. It's a full law firm.
Exactly. So what happened was, what you can do and what you should do is you should limit. The real estate people shouldn't have access to the IP, information. So there was none of that sort of
No walls, no divisions.
Exactly. So what happened was they got the whole enchilada, and unfortunately, it cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars. The $1,000 a month paled in comparison to what they ended up paying. I'm sorry, John?
Did they play Bitcoin? Did they have to pay Bitcoin?
They had to pay Bitcoin. And you can't believe that one of their clients was a bank, and what they wanted them to do in order to keep their business and to implement was enterprise level stuff. And we actually got engaged. They hired us. We went to the bank. We showed them what our program was, and they were able to avoid some of the more costly things that the bank felt they needed to have in place, given the fact that they were hacked.
And Dawn, that's something else you should tell clients. We're now seeing in these risk transfer agreements, and people don't read them closely. A lot of agreements now include cyber liability. It's both protections and insurance requirements. These clients just sign stuff, and then after the fact read it and say, wait a minute, I was supposed to have 5 million of this and do this and not do that. And they don't read it.
We were contacted, wanted us to do a security assessment and backdate it.
A lot of these privately owned companies, partnerships, they've never worked, let's say, in big corporations and learned what I would call proper organizational controls and security and professional standards. And their standards are developed within their own organization, which are much more subjective. And I see it every day, how susceptible these entrepreneurs and leaders are to many factors, not just cybersecurity. Don, I love listening to you, and I hope that John brings you back because he's in control of these segments. If someone wants to learn more about you, Don Nokes, principal at NetCenergy, how would they find you?
Well, basically going to www.netcenergy.com, and it's NETC, and then the word energy.com, netcenergy.com. Dan Charlin, my co-founder and business partner, and myself started this with just 3 of us, back in 18 years ago now this month. And so we've got about 30 folks, and we have a very good client base that we're not trying to get huge. We want to be able to take care of our customers. And, it doesn't have to cost a fortune. And buying, it's less than the cost of having a full-time IT person to have a full coverage organization. So yeah, check us out, www.netcenergy.com.
That was a no foolproof close, because you made it easy for all of us. John, Dustin, JED Insurance, someone's looking for you. How do they find you?
John.Dustin@jedinsurance.com or www.jedinsurance.com, or by phone 508-543-1067.
Great. Thanks for being on the show, guys. I look forward to speaking to you again. Have a great time for the rest of the summer and good luck in the fall. And remind everybody, this is Radio Entrepreneurs.